Right, are we all here? Right, good evening everyone, and welcome to the final talk of the day. That's Gwynn Thomas on Islam, Politics and Revolution.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, friends, comrades.
Good evening.
Thank you, friends. You too. I included you in that.
It's all going to say then, Gwynn.
I'd like, as others have done, to pay a tribute, first of all, to the late Ron Cook and record my personal thanks and appreciation for the work he did for the party and for socialism. Unlike in Howard's presentation, what you're about to hear is not the product of deep thought and investigation. It's very much work in progress, informed by what I've learned in the party from members like Ron Cook, for example. It's a presentation in which the speaker hopes to learn as much as the audience, which is as it should be in an organisation of equals. I'd like to start with a little prologue. Those of you familiar with the product of the Hollywood cinema industry will probably have seen and appreciated the work of the Coen brothers, Ethan and Joel. And you might well have seen and appreciated, as I did, their movie Fargo. Mm. Now, Fargo, you'll recall, opens to a bleak landscape across which is written the words, "This is a true story." In contrast, we have the Quran, which opens the second sentence. There's a bit in Arabic which I don't understand. The second sentence is, "This book is not to be doubted." What is the Muslim world? Like that other entity, the West, it is a useful shorthand for a range of states in which the followers of Islam make up the majority. Although it's a useful term, it has shortcomings, the main one being that it distracts from other important realities. Although still not fully modern, in the Muslim world, the states in the Muslim world are nevertheless firmly embedded in a web of capitalist relations enveloping the whole world. I'd like to start, therefore, by considering that political collectivity known as the Organisation of Islamic Conference, which has 56 members plus Palestine. Palestine doesn't count because it's not a state yet. Since the 19th century, there have been aspirations that Muslims unite and pursue common purposes on the political, economic and social fronts. This aspiration was motivated by the desire to gain greater control over internal and collective affairs than had been the case previously. It was formed in May 1971. The OIC has a population of more than 1.3 billion people. 1/5 of humanity live in the OIC. Only 1/5 of that 1/5 could be described as Middle Eastern. Yes, for very many, that's what Muslims are. Muslim, for most people, or for a very large number of people, equals Arab. Or for the slightly more sophisticated, who are conscious of 9/11 and its implications, Muslim might also equal Pakistani. I want now to put this 1/5 to 1/5 into some kind of global context, using admittedly tendentious and questionable criteria. Only 15 OIC members could be considered to be democratic, in that they have multi-candidate, multi-party competitive elections. Some 9 OIC members are classed as having restricted democratic practices. Out of the 56 OIC states, 22, or 40%, are categorized as authoritarian regimes. In 2003, the think tank known as Freedom House carried a survey, and the survey found that, in their view, at least 30 of the 56 OIC member states could be classified as not free. Partially free, there were 20. Only 4 OIC members were classified as free. What are the economic performance of the OIC? More than 1.3 billion put together have an annual GDP of less than 1.5 trillion US dollars. For comparison, there are only 290 million Americans, yet their annual GDP is 10.4 trillion. The UK, for comparison, has an annual GDP of 1.52 trillion. Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates and Brunei are the only OIC members where per capita income exceeds $10,000 a year. At least 50 OIC members have a per capita income of under $5,000 a year. So I won't bore you with any more figures. They can be confusing in the absence of aids like PowerPoints. Anyway, these figures of course hide enormous disparities of wealth within the countries of the OIC. Of the 1.3 billion OIC Muslims, more than 800 million continue to be absolutely illiterate. Of the 1.3 billion Muslims, less than 300,000 qualify as scientists. By comparison, the USA, with a population of 290 million, has 1.1 million scientists. Japan has 700,000. A very great number of Muslims are trapped in a vicious cycle of illiteracy, poverty and violence. How are we to explain this? How do we explain the Muslim, what's been called the Muslim decline? At one time, the Ottoman Empire was one of the great powers in the world. And according to the Quran, if you're a good Muslim and obey God, He will look after you and see you're all right. Only 2 answers are possible. Either the claims of Islam are false, and the nominally Christian but increasingly secular or post-Christian West has come up with another system that was superior, or Islam has failed through not being true to itself.